Sophie Cunningham showed that she is, the old Caitlin Clark enforcer. She is the Caitlin Clark enforcer. That has been shown. She is the enforcer that the Fever have needed for the last year, and she has responded. She has responded.
Sophie Cunningham, yes, the same rookie who came to Indiana with barely a whisper, just became a fan favorite overnight. And the craziest part? It wasn't for a buzzer beater. It wasn't for a 30-point game. It was because she did what no one else had the guts to do. She stood up and defended Caitlin Clark with fire. But now, she's not just Clark's protector. She's stealing the spotlight. And Caitlin?
Sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, is anybody on this team gonna stand up for Caitlin Clark? JC Sheldon grabbing Caitlin Clark all game, clawing at her. It's like tonight was a brawl, folks. Tonight was a brawl, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, is anybody on this team going to stand up for? And Sophie Cunningham.
She's caught off guard because this is her show. Or at least it was. Is there a new queen in Indiana? Let's get into it in 5 scorching points. It was supposed to be just another Fever game. Caitlin Clark was balling out, the Fever were winning, and the Connecticut Sun were getting desperate. But then it happened. JC Sheldon poked Clark in the eye. Marina Mabrey shoved her to the floor, and just like that, enter Sophie Cunningham. No hesitation, no second guessing, just pure fire. Sophie wrapped up Sheldon and pulled her down hard. The crowd gasped.
Let's start with the play that set off the entire night. So as you guys can see here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin Clark. She swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin Clark nudges her off because JC stays in her face. And then Tina Charles runs over and is kind of wagging her finger in Caitlin Clark's face. And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark.
The refs panicked, and the fans? They erupted like a volcano. Sophie, Sophie, chants echoed in the arena. Twitter exploded. IG clips went viral. The phrase, the enforcer, started trending in minutes. People weren't just watching the Fever, they were watching Sophie take over. And that moment right there, that's what made her a fan favorite. Not because of a stat sheet, but because she did what fans have been begging for. Someone to protect Caitlin. Someone to fight back. Someone who wasn't afraid to take a hit for the team. Caitlin Clark is used to being the story, the headlines, the camera focus, the center of gravity. And rightfully so, she's been carrying the WNBA's popularity on her back since day one. But after that altercation,
welcome to WNBA Fight Night, or as some people are saying, WNBA Raw. What a game that was. We had it all. We had basketball, we had fighting, we had blonde on blonde crime. Oh, such an epic. Oh, goodness. But at the end of the day, it resulted in an Indiana Fever W. 88-71, taking care of business.
she wasn't the one trending, it was Sophie. Clark was stunned. She even admitted it. In her post-game reaction, she called Sophie's actions unexpected but deeply valued. That's Clark code for, I didn't see this coming. And honestly, that's not surprising. For months, she's been taking all the hits, physically, emotionally, from fans, media, and players. And no one had ever stepped in like that. Not until Sophie. But here's the uncomfortable truth. While Clark was thankful, you could tell. She didn't love losing the spotlight. The cameras weren't only zoomed in on her anymore. Sophie's face was on the replays, the headlines, the fan pages. For the first time since Clark stepped into the league, someone else was the hero. Let's stop pretending this is just about a hard foul. That moment was just the surface. What fans saw in Sophie Cunningham was something deeper. A raw, no-nonsense player who actually plays with emotion, with backbone, and with zero fear. she's not just protecting Caitlin Clark. She's standing in for the fans who've been screaming, "Why isn't anyone backing her up?" And here's the twist. This isn't a one-time moment.
Now, let's start here. This is, of course, Sophie and Sheldon going down the floor. Sophie tries to wrap her up, and Sheldon gets to the floor, and all hell breaks loose. And Sophie said, "I'm not having it. I'm not having it. We'll go. We'll go." So there's that. That, of course, was all a byproduct of this right here, folks. And I mean, when I tell you social media is setting the WNBA on fire right now, not in a good way, that's the understatement.
Sophie's whole vibe screams loyalty. She's not here for the cameras. She's not here to chase headlines. She's here to fight, to compete, and to make sure no one touches her teammate without consequences. That's why fans are latching onto her so hard. Because while the league keeps throwing punches at Clark, Sophie stepped in like a soldier who actually understands the assignment. She's built for this role. From her days at Missouri, she's always been physical, always been aggressive. She brings that old-school toughness fans crave but rarely get in today's sanitized, drama-controlled game. Now she's taking all that energy and becoming the face of Fever fight culture, a symbol that says this team is no longer going to be pushed around while the league watches in silence. The craziest part? It's working. Sophie's viral, her jersey's trending. Fever fans are showing up to games in the Enforcer shirts. Commentators are saying the Fever finally found their Dennis Rodman. And it all happened because she dared to do what no one else did. Stand up when Caitlin Clark was under attack. Let's keep it all the way real. The media is fanning these flames like it's Game 7 of the finals. Everywhere you look, it's Sophie this, Enforcer that, Caitlin's protector, the true leader. But the question no one's bold enough to ask is this still Caitlin Clark's team? When one player becomes the focus of hype, tension always follows. The WNBA made Caitlin the poster girl. She was the rating spike, the jersey seller, the ticket mover. But now, Sophie's storming in and flipping the energy. Fans are chanting her name. Clips of her tackle are going more viral than Clark's three-pointers.
Of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on JC Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And JC Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
For the first time in her career, Caitlin's not the loudest voice in the room. And you better believe she feels it. And let's not forget, this league has a history of not knowing how to handle multiple stars on one team. Just look at what happened in the past with chemistry clashes. Now, with the Fever, you've got 2 big personalities. One the face of finesse, the other the face of fire. And the entire media circus is waiting to see what happens next. If the Fever don't manage this dynamic with precision, they'll have a full-blown power struggle on their hands. Clark is too smart to show frustration in public. But behind the scenes, how long before the whispers start? How long before Sophie's popularity starts to feel like pressure? The league wanted attention. Now they've got it. But attention comes with heat. And the media's not going to stop stirring this narrative. It's Sophie versus Caitlin in the public eye. And that's a powder keg if the front office doesn't get ahead of it. Here's the truth nobody's ready to admit. The Indiana Fever are standing at a crossroads, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Right now, they have something rare, something explosive, something that could turn them into a WNBA powerhouse if they don't screw it up. Caitlin Clark is already a generational force. She's the bucket getter, the logo sniper, the headline machine. She made the Fever relevant again, brought record viewership, and single-handedly revived interest in the league.
I feel good, and Sophie Cunningham put me out on a high note, folks. I didn't even say, Ben, calm down, regroup. I didn't even say that. Let's get straight to the play everybody, the plays everybody is talking about. First off, Marina Mabrey body checking Caitlin Clark to the ground. JC Sheldon all over her. Riding her. Pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye. Oh man, Caitlin Clark needs to start wearing goggles, folks. Caitlin Clark's gonna need to start wearing goggles. Bumps up on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark says, "Get your hands off me." And then here comes Marina Mabrey. Boom! Exploding Caitlin Clark like a safety coming downhill in the NFL. There was no flop there.
She's polished, camera-ready, marketable to the core. But with Sophie Cunningham's rise, a raw, unapologetic, gritty gladiator of a teammate, the entire structure just changed. These two could form the most lethal inside-outside combo in modern WNBA history. Caitlin brings finesse and flash, Sophie brings fire and fists. One controls the scoreboard, the other controls the emotional tempo. It's a blueprint that's worked for dynasties before. Think LeBron and Udonis Haslem, or Kobe and Ron Artest. One leads with skill, the other enforces with force. The perfect balance between scoring and support, talent and toughness. But make no mistake, that balance is hanging by a thread. Because this isn't just about what happens on the court. This is about narrative, ego, media, and management. Sophie went from unknown to fan favorite overnight. The chants, the headlines, the memes, they're all about her now. And for a league and a team built around Caitlin Clark's supremacy, that's a dangerous shift. Caitlin's used to being the moment, not sharing it, not having it questioned. The Fever have a job to do, and it's not just coaching X's and O's. They need to manage a culture. They need to create a locker room where two powerful women with very different styles can thrive together, not compete for space. That means setting clear roles, supporting both narratives, and keeping the team focused on winning, not clicks, not trends, not who's the face. Because if they don't, this whole thing blows up. Fast. It'll start subtly. Missed passes, tension during timeouts, weird media quotes. Then it'll get louder. Fans start taking sides. Sophie stands versus Caitlin diehards. The locker room starts to feel divided. Chemistry goes out the window. And instead of a dynasty, the Fever become a cautionary tale. The team that had it all but couldn't handle it. This is a fire. It can either warm the entire franchise or burn it to the ground. So now Indiana has a choice. Will they be bold enough to embrace both stars, to build a team culture that thrives on strength and difference? Or will they force one of them, maybe even Caitlin herself, to step back? History is watching, because if they get this right, they don't just win games, they change the WNBA forever. But if they get it wrong, they lose everything before they even got started.